We see you, entrepreneurs. Keep the lights on with affordable business finance from Business Partners Limited, the entrepreneur's financier.
South Africa's energy crisis has been ongoing for over a decade, and businesses are struggling to operate reliably due to an unreliable power grid. While solar, battery and wind energy projects are currently in development, affordability and sustainability are still major concerns for business owners. Despite these challenges, investing in alternative energy sources could provide a more sustainable and cost-effective solution in the long run. So, Prof, thank you very much for joining us. Let's start by talking about some of the alternative energy solutions that exist out there for businesses. What are they?
Okay, I would say the main one at the moment is solar, because that you can install on quite a small scale. A single panel is already going to make a little bit of a difference, but usually the more you install, it's going to work out a little bit cheaper if you can do it on a medium scale. And that certainly seems to have been the most popular option. It's not the only one. There is also wind, but that you really need fairly high towers, so some mines are considering that. And there's always the traditional generator, which unfortunately, apart from the smells and so on, it relies a bit on the price of diesel and gas and so on. In addition, maybe as in the farming community, they could even consider things like bio-waste and that, and burning that is done in some places for electricity. But the main one, and I think that's certainly the one which is going to drive alternative energy expansion in this country, is solar.
So are these alternative sources of energy affordable, and have financial lending institutions created mechanisms for businesses to take up these alternative sources of power?
That's going to get bigger now, especially since the government has introduced these special incentives. The shopping malls and factories which have been doing this now for the especially last 2 or 3 years and that, weren't really looking so much at incentives. They just saw this as an investment that ultimately would save them money. But now with this happening, now it's become clear that our electricity crisis is going to be with us for quite a few years still. I think more and more people are looking at what they can do to alleviate the situation. And yes, it means that you need this initial outlay of money. I think a typical solar system with battery and inverter and so on probably comes to about 50,000 for a house. It might be more if you have a bigger house and so on. But if you look at your monthly electricity bill and what that would be, and you can more or less work out how long it will take you to pay that back. If you want to go completely off the grid, that's quite difficult because you'll need a lot of batteries. But if you simply want to save some money and bridge the load shedding episodes, you only need a medium system. Probably half of your electricity will come from Eskom, half of your electricity will come from your solar.
And then, of course, there are a lot of misconceptions around the cost of installing alternative sources of power. So is it a myth that it is more expensive? And also, how does a business then tell the difference between an authentic alternative power source installer and, of course, those fly-by-nights with the increasing demand?
So there is a misconception that it's still expensive. It's not expensive anymore. The main problem with solar and wind is their dependency on the weather, and that yes, you do need to work this in conjunction with some sort of storage devices. Battery technologies have not evolved to the point where you can literally store electricity for days, or where they have, it's an expensive option. I expect, though, that this is going to get better in time to come. So right now, we're looking at a country growing on that front. I think it's 7% of our electricity comes from solar only, which is very little considering what we have. So I think we're moving that way. There are a lot of companies that would be good and reputable, some are probably not. I think it's already good to just look at websites and look at the track record. Some of the established companies have now got quite a large portfolio of installations that they've carried out.
This episode of Future Fit was sponsored by Business Partners Limited, the entrepreneur's financier, proud supporters of SMEs for over 41 years.